Alright, welcome back. This is an update on my homemade outboard. Started building this sometime last year. It's not my first homemade outboard. Made quite a few in my life. This is one of the better setup ones. It's a 87 Yamaha 6 horsepower lower. I've got a brand new prop. I chewed it up yesterday. Oyster shells. Took it in the marsh. The prop is 8.5 by 7.5. Yamaha 3-blade. Everything works great on here. Yesterday my brother called me up. Hey man, let's go ride our boats. You know, he built him a little air-cooled outboard. I gave him an engine, I think a 5 or 7 horsepower Briggs. And he put on top of a 9.9 Evinrude lower. So he came yesterday and I said, look, well, I don't have a throttle rigged up or a tiller handle. You know, we were just using for testing purposes. I was steered by this and stick your finger right here and work the governor. That was the throttle. So we spent about 2 hours yesterday. I welded up a piece of angle here, cut another piece of angle that notched over, cut a round pipe, and I notched it for the stop, for the handle. Okay, it stops on the up, stops on the down. And then fabricated a throttle mount. I was going to originally do the push-pull Yamaha cable system. I have the cam that would roll and that would work the throttle. But this was a much simpler build instead of relying on that little plastic cam and building bracket. Not that I was too lazy to build the brackets. This is just more reliable. Just a cheap spring with the cable hooks to. Less things to fail. I do need to do a little grinding, and I got a bushing to install in here to take out the slop. The welds were crude. We had them through together. As soon as I weld this angle line on and put this bracket on for the tiller, and when you push down the tiller, this whole plate would flex. So it doesn't flex now. Everything moves with it. Very solid. So I guess my next step would be to pull the engine off. I can grind, clean up these welds, put some better welds in some places, throw some paint on it. My shifting mechanism is holding up well. This is all factory Yamaha detent, and it wasn't easy incorporating this in here for the gear shifter. I had to do a lot of careful measuring and layout from the original Yamaha motor. Like I said, there's a 6 horsepower, 87 6 horse. The tiller handle was broken off. It originally came from another town. Someone had it in the back of a boat and it wasn't tightened down, and it fell off down the highway, and it broke the tiller handle. It ruined the block. The cover came off, and then the engine block was just rolling, tumbling down the road, and really tore up the engine. So I sat for years with water in it, but I was able to salvage the rest. This is all I really wanted. 6 horse Yamaha. I say it was free. I bought a 25 Evinrude for $100, and the lady threw in the 6 horsepower with it. She was asking $100 for the 6 horse, but she didn't know it was locked up. She didn't know anything about motors. Just, hey, it's in my yard, $100. Anyway, that was free. This engine was free off of a pressure washer someone gave me. The coupling, I have a video way back when. The shaft on a pressure washer engine, most of them are 7/8 of an inch. This was a 7/8. The shaft on my Yamaha, I forget the size. I want to say it was a 1/2 inch or 5/8 shaft, probably a 1/2 inch. Well, anyway, what I did, I bought a 7/8 straight bore coupling, and I bought a 7/8 to 3/4 sleeve adapter, and then from 3/4 I actually cut the crankshaft off the original Yamaha, the little stub crank off the engine, that way it fits the splines. This stub crank, I want to say it was like a 20 millimeter. I turned it down to 3/4 of an inch. That way a 7/8 to 3/4 sleeve adapter fitted perfect. I made a little keyway in it with a grinder, and it's all locked and keyed in. It's easy to change. It's held on with set screws. Everything rolls nice and true and smooth. Where some people build the homemade outboards, they use like an impact socket and weld it, and I wasn't doing all that. Not that it doesn't work. Plenty of people done it for years. this is more of a correct professional setup, I guess. You know, it doesn't do any damage to the main shaft, and it's true. Yesterday we took it out after we built the tiller handle on a 30-mile round trip run. The fuel tank holds about a quart, almost a quart. I think I filled up 3 times for sure, and it's ready for a 4th. So I went a 30-mile round trip on a, let's say, a gallon of gas, on 4 quarts of gas. And the majority of the ride for this one was wide open. On this big sailboat, it's a 68 day sailor 1, 16 foot 9 inches. It weighs about 600 pounds plus me and gear. So this motor was running a load yesterday. An average of 7 to 8 miles per hour wide open, but my average speed was 6 to 7 miles per hour for those 30 miles, with some occasional idling down and playing around. We went playing some mud flats, kicked up some oyster shells. The little motor, I'm very impressed with it. It always starts. I don't really need to choke it. Of course, now that I say that, I'm probably gonna have to choke it. I mean, I can let this motor sit for a month. It'll start within 2 pulls. The idle is a little high. I need to do a little spring work to pull back a little more. But it works as a standard outboard motor. But it has an air-cooled engine. Yeah, it only turns up a little less than 4,000 RPM, whereas the outboard would turn up over 5. So I built the tiller handle using Yamaha parts. There's the original Yamaha 6 horsepower tiller that's supposed to go here. Brackets broke. Yamaha cable clip, and the tiller, the locks and stops do work. I did incorporate the original stop. I sectioned this pipe out to where it stops on the down and it stops on the up. My tension does work, so I can lock the throttle, and my tension for the steering does work. Only thing that's not working is my lock mechanism. It stays locked down because there's a little stainless steel spring missing. I'm gonna have to look on Yamaha parts, find that spring. To release the lock, you tilt this up and it releases lock. Well, it doesn't because the spring is not there, or maybe it's pushed down, one or the other. It does have shallow drive. The shallow drive is operational. It does have a lock to keep it up, and I've got just enough room the way this deck's built to where the motor flips up and doesn't interfere with anything. The reason for putting my tiller so high, I used this to test my barrel boat when I first started my houseboat last year, and the motor was really low on a barrel boat. So the reason behind that, my deck on my next barrel boat, I do plan on making an 8x20 2 pontoon barrel boat just for me to go fishing in. I'm expecting to do 5-6 miles an hour with this engine, but my deck height's gonna be about right here, so my tiller is gonna clear my deck. Whereas if I left the factory tiller, it would have to be up at an angle to operate, or I have to run steering or something. This way, my deck height, I'm planning ahead. I've done my measurements. It's gonna work out perfect. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little update on my homemade outboard motor. I love it. It's really hard to replace, hard for me to get rid of. I've been offering some money for it. I don't want to get rid of it, even though I could easily build me another one. I like the way this one's set up and the way it operates. Like I said, I built quite a few of these. My biggest one is a 26 Briggs on top of a 50 Yamaha, and to this day it's still the fastest on YouTube. I think I have a video of it doing 24 or 26 miles an hour on YouTube on a heavy boat that weighs over 1,000 pounds. So yeah, I like doing stuff like this. I would like to get more into making videos of doing stuff like this. I just don't have the time. Well, I do thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm gonna try to do some things with this little boat. It's paid for. Yesterday, man, we used the bumper boats. We had a blast. We spent at least 7 hours on the water yesterday. But I do plan on building a cuddy cabin type. I want to use this for camping. You know, I'd have to build a cabin back there about right here, to where I'm gonna have a nice long cabin big enough for 1, possibly 2 people to camp in overnight. This little boat handles the rough really well. The transom's been rebuilt last year. I still never finished the fairing and painting. I actually sanded the hull to start doing the fairing and painting, but I stopped on it because I don't like the overall profile of the hull from the side. The way it looks just bothers me. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. See how high the bow is compared to the stern, and it just has an ugly profile. If I can cut this deck off and raise these sides 6 inches taller, 6 to 8 inches taller in the rear, and let it taper down to meet the front somewhere up here, it would be a beautiful shaped boat. It would give me a higher freeboard. But that's a lot of work to do that in fiberglass. I mean, if you got money, it's not a lot of work, but I don't have money. But that was the plan with this one. I was gonna make it like a little mini trawler style boat with an inboard. I still have everything to do the inboard. That's in another video. But I plan on, I got a fiberglass tunnel I made that'll fit right here. I have to glass it in, cut out the bottom, and a lower unit from a 25 Evinrude will bolt right up to it. And then I could run a traditional rudder with a 22 V-twin Briggs inside. This boat will move after that and still be relatively cheap on fuel. I still hadn't fully decided if I want to do that. That was the original plan with this haul. Just to put an inboard Briggs, have my little cabin up front, and this was going to be a mini trawler. I still want to build it. It's just time. The fiberglass is paid for. The box is built. I already have the lower unit. I already had the engine. I'd have to build a coupling. Everything else is easy to sort out. So that might turn into a winter project. But this video wasn't about the boat. It's about this motor. Very happy with it. I don't want to sell it. So I think I'm gonna hang on to it. I've been offered a couple $100 quite a few times for it. To me, I wouldn't pay no more than $500-600 for something like this. I don't want to sell it for that, even though I can build this one if I buy another used engine, 6 to 10 horsepower engine, or even a 15 horse. Pick up a used pressure washer. I could probably build this for about $300 to $400. But this one was built for hardly nothing. I already had the steel. I just had to buy. The only thing I purchased for this thing, the bolts and the coupling and the sleeve adapter. And I bought 2 props. By accident I bought 2. So realistically, I got $100 tied up in this motor, and I wouldn't sell it for $6. So thank y'all for viewing. I'll see y'all on the next one.